What if I told you that the God you know today was originally two separate rivals? For centuries, the supreme creator El and the storm god Baal fought for dominance in the ancient Levant, only to eventually merge into a single entity. Let's peel back the layers of history to see how these forgotten deities became the blueprint for modern monotheism. In 1928, northern Syria, a farmer's plow hit stone, not a rock, a wall. Weeks later, archaeologists uncover a city buried for 3,000 years, Ugarit. Inside, thousands of clay tablets. A language no one can read. It takes years to crack it. And when they finally do, the discovery is a bomb, a council of gods, a family tree, names ripped straight out of the Bible. El, Baal, Asherah. And near the bottom of that family tree, almost invisible, a minor god of storm and war. Yahweh, not the one true God, not yet, just one son, among many, working for someone else. So what turned a minor god into the god? That's the part they never taught you. 1400 BC. No Israel, no Bible, just a crowded heaven. At the top, El, the old king of the gods. He doesn't fight, he rules. Beside him, Asherah, his wife. Goddess of fertility, sacred trees, the land itself. Below them, a council. Gods with job titles. Baal gets storms, Anak gets war, and nations get handed out like territory. Deuteronomy 32 says it outright. El divided the nations, and one nation, Israel, got assigned to his son. Yahweh, Israel didn't choose him, he was an assignment. Every nation had a god back then. Egypt had its gods, Moab had Chemosh, Israel had Yahweh. But somewhere in the deserts a collision was building, wandering tribes were merging, and they brought a god who completely refused to stay in his lane. What happens when a minor god stops taking orders? Then it starts. Titles that only belong to El Most High, creator of heaven and earth, start attaching to Yahweh. Not a war, a merger, two gods fusing into one identity, and the Bible leaves the fingerprints. Exodus 6. God speaks to Moses. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as El Shaddai, but by my name Yahweh I did not make myself known to them. Read that again. The text admits it. One name swapped for another, hiding in plain sight for thousands of years. Why? Because scattered tribes don't survive alone. They need one loyalty, one identity, one God big enough to unite them. So the ancient high god's power got folded into a younger, fiercer name. One God, one people, one nation born from a merger. But not every rival god was ready to disappear quietly. One of them was about to fight back. Baal wasn't background noise. Baal was the action hero of the ancient world. He rides the clouds, commands the thunder, slays the sea monster of chaos. Now look at the Psalms. Psalm 18, Yahweh rides the clouds, thunder in his voice, lightning as weapons. Psalm 68, Yahweh called almost word for word, the rider of the clouds. Stolen straight from Baal's own hymns. This isn't coincidence, it's theft. You don't beat a popular rival god by ignoring him. You beat him by stealing his best material and slapping your name on it. It's a war fought in poetry, one stolen title at a time. And it turns violent. Mount Carmel. Elijah, fire from heaven. Baal's priests humiliated in public. That's not a Bible story, that's an execution. One god had to die in the story so the other could survive. But Baal wasn't the only one written out. 1970s. A remote desert outpost, Kuntillet Ajrud, archaeologists find pottery, inscriptions. One line stops everyone cold. I bless you by Yahweh and his Asherah, not a tree. A wife, more inscriptions turn up. Same pairing, same implication. Yahweh had a consort. The Bible barely lets this survive, but the scars are everywhere. Asherah poles show up again and again. Kings get graded on whether they tear them down. Good king destroys them. Bad king lets them stand. That's not religion. That's a centuries-long campaign to delete a goddess from history. Why erase her? Because one god alone with no rival, no partner, is easier to control. Strip out the goddess and you rebuild the entire system around a single male authority. One editorial decision, made by scribes whose names we'll never know. Echoing for 3,000 years. You think monotheism arrived in one dramatic flash. It didn't. Twist 1, for most of early Israelite history, people didn't deny other gods existed. They just worshipped only theirs. It's called monolatry. Full-blown, there is only one God, period. Belief doesn't fully lock in until the Babylonian exile, centuries later than you'd assume. Twist 2, you shall have no other gods before me. Read the wording. Before me isn't a denial they exist, it's a ranking. The God of absolute singular monotheism wasn't the beginning of this story. He was the finish line. Strip away the theology. What's left is people. A small tribal god, a population fighting to survive. Priests who understood unification means survival. So they borrowed, they rebranded, they erased what didn't fit the story they needed to tell. This isn't unique to Israel. Every religion that unified a fractured people has done something like this. The real betrayal isn't the merging, it's how long they hid it. 2026 changes the stakes. DNA is mapping the real migrations behind these gods. AI is scanning ancient manuscripts letter by letter, finding editorial fingerprints scholars spent lifetimes missing. Every year, the same picture gets sharper, blending, borrowing. Human hands, not lightning bolts. A minor desert god absorbed a father god's authority, stole a storm god's poetry, outlived the goddess standing right beside him. That god became the foundation of Judaism, then Christianity, then Islam. Half the planet still prays in his direction. Here's the real twist. The gods didn't just create us, we built them right back. If this story made you question what you thought you knew, let us know in the comments. What do you think? Do religions evolve over time, or do ancient discoveries simply give us new ways to understand the past? If you enjoyed this journey into history's greatest mysteries, like, share, and subscribe to Fabelon Stories, then press the bell icon so you never miss our next mystery. Because every answer uncovers another question, and the mystery never ends.